Hi guys, welcome back to another video. TYT have released a new firmware update for the UVL-15W. Hopefully this is going to sort out some of the bugs that are on this particular transceiver. I'm more looking at the APRS and with it freezing on the screen. I've already done the firmware update, and as you can see from the screen, we've now got a black theme with white writing. Some of the other things that people have asked for is to be able to change the boot up screen logo. It currently says TYT. If we go to the CPS software on the computer, we go to Tools, we go to Boot Picture Set, click on Open Picture. Currently it's got this one here, it's got a TYT logo. What you need to do is to drop your image into the CPS firmware folder, and within this folder there's a boot picture folder, and as you can see I've renamed another one TYT UVL-15W. If I click on that, there's my new picture that I'm going to put on the radio. We're going to hit right. As you can see from when the transceiver boots up, a new image is there. I'm going to just show you a few screenshots of the two different screens from the older software and some of the differences I'm noticing so far. It's still early days. I've just downloaded it today and updated the radio, and then I'm going to have a look at the radio and go through the menu. Before I go on and look at the firmware and the radio, some of the menus, I want to send out a big thanks to Millerek TA, hopefully I've said that correctly, who helped identify some of the new changes with the current firmware. What you'll see with the new firmware and the CPS software is a new function with VFO Scan Edge. This allows you to put in scan edges so you can literally scan from a certain frequency at a low range up to a high range, and in what step size you want to do it with a different mode. So for argument's sake, if you just wanted to scan 2 meters, you could put in 144 as your low, and then you could put in 146 as your high. You could do it as a 12.5 kc step, and then you could do it in narrow FM. They've added a CIT function, and basically this is a computer interface. They've used the same CIV address for the ICOM 705 0XA4. It says it's at present controlling the frequency reading, the tone control, offset, supports switching of the VFO memory, call and channel mode. I think it's probably a bit like a computer controlled radio. Not too sure it's very necessary for a handheld, but may be useful for some. I haven't explored it any further, but I did notice it was there. Another item included in the firmware update was the ability to change the background color screen. I noticed this being posted on a forum, and it looks like the manufacturer have taken this on board. Before, you just had a white background with black writing. Now you've got the option to change it to black with white writing most of the time, but when it's in receive, it will go green, and in transmit, it will go red. I think I've seen yellow as well as a color. I think it looks a lot more sleek, and it's easier on the eyes, to be honest. One thing I did notice in the CPS software, under radio basic settings, number 3, which is sounds, looking under the beep tab, you've got 3 sections that have been ticked, and it's in Chinese writing. Unfortunately, I don't know what they are, and hopefully they're going to be updated on the next CPS software update. The last thing I did notice in the CPS software, under APRS, if you go to TNC, we've got a data input toggle for USB CDC, Bluetooth SPP, Bluetooth BLE. I believe this is for when you're connecting the radio to a phone, like if you've got APRS.FI as an app, or maybe something like that on an Android phone. Allows you to send messages and emails via their app to the radio, to the network. Haven't tried it myself as I don't have an Apple phone and I haven't downloaded the Android one. So looking at the radio, before the firmware update, this is the screen that you had. It was a white background with black writing. We can now go into the menu, radio set. As you can see, you can hardly see them on camera. If we go to display theme, change it to black, and already you can see it a lot clearer. Definitely a lot clearer on the camera, and it's a lot clearer in person. We've also gained on VHF, UHF. If you see here, we've got FM. If we go into here, go into channel mode, we've now got AM and AM narrow. If we go to AM, You'll see in this top left hand corner we've got a T, and there's like a circle with a red mark going through it. If I key up, it won't transmit any AM. So it might be handy for someone who likes to listen to a bit of AM on 2 meters, or there's a certain frequency that only does AM. That's one thing. If we go into the scope, let's find, I can't see anything going on at the moment. Let's try here. Underneath the PTT button where I've set my scope up, you've got a play button which plays the waterfall, and then the button will stop it so you can listen to any signals. We're also, with the orange button on the top, you can change the speed of that waterfall scope. So we've got slow, mid, high, very high, and turbo. So that's that. Come out of there. Another thing that they've done is added auto repeater, and that's more for the auto repeat, the offset. For the UK market, and probably for most of Europe, it's not going to be any good, because if I look at the chart that they've got, if I scroll around, it's got auto repeater on at the moment, and we're looking at repeaters now. This is the repeater section, nothing. But if I go to 146, what was it, 6125, it puts in the repeater shift here, so it's probably set for the American market, so it's not any good for I can't find a way of changing that yet. Might be an option, but I'm not too sure. And I knew there was a yellow, so we've got yellow as you're typing in on the keypad. I knew there was another colour, so that's that. Would have liked if they'd put in another power level. I still think the radio needs a 0.5 watt, 1 watt scale. So if they added in a ultra low, low power, that would be nice. So 500 milliwatts, 1 watt, because I think if I remember right, we've got 3.5 watts, 8 watts, and then the 15 watts. So it'd be nice to have another power level below that personally. They have changed that icon. I think that was a different colour before. I'm just now finding little silly things about the radio, but otherwise the firmware seems to have made some improvements. I've still got to test out the APRS. If I go into APRS, go to my stations list, this is what it's receiving so far, but that's not everything. I don't think it's fully picking up every station. I've gone through the settings. I'll need to do some further tests, but I'll do another video on that again. Hopefully you found this useful. If you like and subscribe, then you'll probably see some more videos pop up on my channel with regards to the UVL-15W. Thanks for watching. 7-3.